Hello and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist on a Wednesday, the show where we all get together on Zoom and talk video games for way too long. A few weeks ago we talked about video games that broke us, either emotionally or because we just suck at them, and your responses in the comments were so good we just had to revisit the topic. So then, presenting once again the video game moments that totally broke us, commenter edition, and beware of endgame spoilers for Titanfall 2, The Last Guardian and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Dave's up first with a story sparked by a comment about one of his favourite characters ever.
Right, I have there were a lot of good comments. There were a lot of really good comments. For some reason, the comments section really spoke to me on this video. But this comment from Gwyn Jones spoke to me in particular. It's done in the form of just like a small 2-line script. The script goes, BT7274, trust me. And Jack, BT, no!
Trust me.
You and BT, honestly.
BT, so you're like Bob Hoskins.
Just every video,
right, Dad.
every Tuesday checklist is BT this, BT that.
Look, I know. Well, I think it speaks to just how amazing Titanfall 2 is. I do feel like it's kind of criminally underloved. I don't know why, because I think it is well loved, but not enough.
I still haven't played it.
Right,
Well, no, I played the beginning of it.
Rosie, I'm sorry to ruin it for you, because that's basically, I mean, this comment is from the very end of the game.
It's fine. The only thing I know about Titanfall 2 is that you can run on walls and shoot, which is really cool and fun, and that BT is a big robot and he's your best friend, and everyone
dad.
always goes, BT! And everyone then gets really sad.
Well,
so
you do know, Rosie, because you put him in that video that we did, the moments to define PS4, and the moment we chose was, trust me, but from earlier in the game.
That's right. This is one of the moments. One of the reasons I love this moment is that it's foreshadowed earlier in the game in another very cool moment where BT says "trust me" for the first time, where he just flings you across a chasm, basically at a wall for you to run on and continue the mission, and it's very, very cool. But Rosie, for your benefit, I will quickly outline the story of Titanfall 2, which is that you are a trainee pilot. So in this world, in this universe, there are these huge mechs which called Titans, which have pilots inside them. Mm-hmm. And your character Jack is a kind of trainee pilot. He's got dreams of becoming a pilot one day, but he's still in the process of learning the ropes when his mentor is killed. And in a kind of crazy dying act, like usually, you have to go through loads of training and exams to become a pilot, but as he's dying, his mentor kind of links Jack to his Titan, which is BT. And it's kind of like,
I've seen that bit.
It's kind of right, because you play at the start, and it's kind of like a naughty thing, because it's like, oh no, you shouldn't really have done that. He's not a proper pilot, and people aren't really sure about it.
For me and Rob especially, this is the beginning of every fantasy book in the world with a wizard's apprentice. It's too soon for me, master. No, Simon, you must take the big wand now.
But usually that is like,
I'm not ready, master.
You are ready.
Usually that is like you say, a big wand or a ring or a hat or a glove or a boot or something like, my special cloak. It's not a huge mech which you inhabit. And he literally puts his, BT, I suppose, puts its kind of body on the line and its existence on the line. For Jack, time and time again, it's flung into the battle. It's the one that's taking all the bullets and everything. And I just find that very heroic and very, I don't know, it's a very special relationship. And midway through the game, BT is actually destroyed, but he manages to download his consciousness, classic bit of sci-fi, downloads his program into something that Jack can then upload into another Titan. So in that way, Jack kind of saves BT. And so at the end of the game, when BT, and he does it unbeknownst to Jack, really, he doesn't say I'm going to save you or anything, he just does it. And his last act is is to save the world, is to uphold the mission, is to save the world. He has to be destroyed. He has to explode basically in this big giant space weapon to stop it from being used against all these civilizations. But he still manages to protect the pilot. He kind of rips open his chest and pulls Jack out and throws him clear. And the last words he says are "trust me," and I'm honestly, I'm getting shivers now talking about it. The music swells, and it's like an amazing scene high above this planet in the atmosphere. Everything's exploding around you, and there's just something so emotional about just those particular words. Maybe it's because it's foreshadowed earlier where he says "trust me," but just trust me. And
why can't he take his personality on a little USB again?
Well, Rob, interesting that you should say that, because there's actually a post-credits scene. And I didn't realise this at the time, but looking into this now, there's kind of like a scene at the end where Jack, he's like just explaining that he's now a fully fledged pilot and he's going to meet his new Titan today. And his neural interface kind of helmet thing starts flashing. And I read today that the flashing is Morse code, and it says, Jack. But yes, that moment, as soon as I read it in the comments, I thought particularly the way that this comment had been written by Gwyn was just perfect. Obviously, BT caught my eye. And then just the 2-line script, trust me. BT, no! That moment, oh, fantastic game, fantastic moment. Brilliant.
What do you know? The weird thing is, I wasn't on the original version of this video, but I did the intro, and in the intro I said my entry would have been Fallout, but if I thought about it, it could have been this moment, as brought to our attention by Craig Clitheroe, who says, when I lost my 4-win streak in Fall Guys.
Oh my god!
Yes, I knew it would be this. I knew it.
Oh
This is not what I didn't see that comment. I went for a different
I didn't
comment.
see that coming, but it's so true.
I guessed correctly.
Oh
It's
man,
awful.
I mean that must.
Do you know, one thing I haven't had a chance to do actually, which I wanted to do for this, was to go back to revisit that morning, and I'm going to look at my messages, because I was messaging Rosie, and I've also I don't think I've got all capture of all of the rounds, but you know, like this was back. We'll take it back to the first season of Fall Guys. Me and Rosie were playing a lot of it, especially really enjoying it.
Can you say you went mad?
I think from the beginning, Rosie and I have been having a bit of a rivalry about Platinum. So we both looked at this probably thinking, how do you do the Platinum on the game? And there was this, like, you have to get 5 wins in a row. Not just, like, 5 round wins. I don't know if you haven't played Fall Guys out there, but you have to win the crown on what is effectively like a swarming battle royale game with beans. You have to win it 5 times in a row. Some people haven't, like, maybe even on this call, still haven't won a round.
No, I never won a crown.
Brutal. So we were doing, you know, we did a tips video around this time. It's a fun game. It's a fun game. I love the game, but it's also a game you can get better at it, and you can learn the routes and the shortcuts. And you know, I haven't done that with the later seasons, partly because of this moment that broke me. But I got good at winning, and I could win. You know, like I probably win once every 3 or 4 rounds, and then every now and again I put 2 together, and I'd be like, oh, I can kind of see how someone might do this Platinum. And then one morning, I think maybe I'd had a win the night before even, but I got up to 4 wins, and partly it was because at this time I think there's so much to do with timing and like the population of who else is playing the game. Because I was playing it so much, I probably became better than a lot of people, and especially that probably counts on the final round, especially on Hexagon. And like Hexagon was, if I got Hexagon in the final, I was like, there's a good chance that I can do this. Full Mountain, so much can happen. You can just get hit by a ball, you know, it's really difficult to win. But on Hexagon, basically, if you've got the plan, if you've got good strats, then you've got a good
the plan.
Not the real plan, just a good plan.
And so I can't remember which finals I had, but I think I had a couple of Hexagons in this run to 4 wins. And I actually got to the final, and I do have, I have footage of the final where I'm like naked in an epic or legendary skin. It looks like, like a Louis Vuitton bag bean. And I'm running around Hexagon, and I was like, it was difficult. I was shaking. I was like, I'm never going to get this close again. This is never happening. The amount of times I'd got like 2 wins, 3 wins. I was playing the game a lot, texting Rosie like, And Rosie, because she can't help herself, was really supportive, really nice, even though obviously like we're at this platinum war. I can't remember. I haven't brought myself to watch the footage, but I guess we'll be showing it now. But I didn't win.
What happened? Do you remember?
It was just hexagon, Dave. Just hexagon. And I fell.
I remember when you messaged me, and I thought if you got that trophy, I would have been like, you legend. Like, there's no way I could be. I know we have our little rivalry with trophies, but I was like, my God, you managed to do that. Fair play to you. Nothing but applause. And then when you said that, just that one final thing, my heart sank for you. I remember sat on the sofa just like...
I've got the messages. I will read them to Dave and Rob. So this is back to the 17th of August, 2020.
Wow, so long ago.
And it's just one morning, first message to Rosie. Rosie, I'm on 4 wins in a row. I don't know what to do. And Rosie said, oh my God, do you want me to join and help you win? And then my next message is just, I got to the final and messed it up. It was Hexagon 2, could totally have won it. And then Rosie just sends a cascade of capital letters, no's, no. It was the one I wanted. It was the final I wanted. I kind of felt like, I'm just not destined to win this. It was not supposed to be. I got what I wanted on the 4th one, and it just didn't happen. So yeah, that's it. That's the moment that broke me. I'm never going to be back there again. You're right, Dave. It was like all these unlikely things piled up on unlikely things, and I was in the final, and the final was the thing I wanted, and I still messed it up.
So, another moment that broke me, the last video we did, I spoke about a moment that made me completely frustrated beyond belief that I started singing, which looking back on it, I sing a lot when I play games. But this comment, it came up a couple of times, but this comment was the first one I noticed, so hence why I've just picked it. It's from Jag Acapito. I hope I said your name correctly. And it says, to summarise it, it's just The Last Guardian's ending broke me. Well, not the ending, but the last section of the game. But the ending section of The Last Guardian completely broke me so much beyond belief that even today, I think I've put it in one of our chats when I was editing a video that I think it was in a Friday feature, and I just cried. I was just crying all over again editing this Friday feature. And even today, when I was looking back on the ending, just to, remind myself of the emotions, I cried. Like literally around half an hour ago, I was sat here crying, and I was like, oh God, what are my eyes like for the video? And there again. To summarise the ending segment, you've just gone on a big adventure with Trico and Boy. I believe his name is literally just the Boy. And you've got to this big tower, and there's a big orby thing, which basically you've learned is controlling, in a weird way, all of the Tricos who have got, these big helmets on and stuff. And there's a lot more going on that you're like, oh my God. But the part that just tears me to shreds, all the control Tricos are basically, they're noticing that something's amiss with our Trico, and then they notice the Boy, and they're like, oh, what are you? I'm gonna play around with you a bit. And then, so they throw the Boy to the side, and Trico, being the best thing in all of PlayStation, he starts defending the Boy, and he starts causing a fight with all of the evil Tricos. Let's just say they're evil ones, and obviously he's completely outnumbered, and all these evil Tricos are literally tearing Trico to shreds. Like, they rip off his tail, they grab his leg, one of them full on goes for the chest and the throat, and you just see Trico just trying to escape desperately. And you then, as the Boy, you're chucked in a situation where you see Trico being slaughtered, and you're just like, I have to save him, I have to do everything I can to save him. You try to grab the shield, then a Trico finds you and he throws you off, and then you grab onto an evil Trico which you're and then you're trying to save, you're doing everything in your power to save Trico. And eventually, after that absolutely horrifically heartbreaking experience, you are able to destroy the big orb thing that's controlling them. So your Trico comes to save you because the impact of the orb has completely knocked you out flat, and you don't know if you're dead or not. But Trico, being wounded and weakened, and he just takes the Boy, uses all of his strength to take him back to the village where the rest of the the people live and stuff. And obviously they see Trico and they start attacking him. But Trico's just saved you. Like, he saved the boy, but all the villagers just think that he's, you know, kidnapped the boy and he's tried to eat him. And it takes, like, the boy, his last strength, he's just crying, Trico, to tell Trico to go, save himself. And then luckily Trico gets the hint, and last bit of strength just flies away. And so that's the moment where the boy and Trico are parted ways, and then like just the speech, the narrator in the game's just like, he didn't have long to live, and obviously I'm a wreck at this point, and I'm like, like even like right now talking about it, I'm like, no, my eyes are watering a bit now, but it's fine.
I feel like we should very quickly, Rosie, just mention that there is a post-credit scene.
Yes, I have to mention
that A, Trico
we're leaving nothing for me to discover here. Sorry.
And B, that Trico almost certainly isn't dead.
Yeah, that made me so happy beyond belief. Like the fact,
too.
like when the boy, the adult, the boy. So I guess he's now the adult.
The man.
When the adult, like the man, when he puts his shield up, and then you see the shield symbol kind of going through the skies. You're like,
yeah,
what? Because you're just such an emotional anything. You're just like fully overwhelmed with all emotions, and then when you just see just the really one little beam of light and you see little green eyes, you're just like, Trico lived, it's fine. And then also there's another 2 smaller pairs of eyes, and it makes me so happy. I don't want to say what they were for namesake, but that's
I think they were baby Tricos. That'd be my guess.
No, that's my guess. I'm trying to keep it as vague as possible, but now it's all just out the window. Yeah, that's just that moment. I mean, even editing this video, I can guarantee you when I'm putting capture over my own entry, I'm going to be sat here crying. So thanks me, and thank you, Jag, for making me think, man, that also completely broke me. I'm going to cry now.
Okay, so we've gone from one sad story into another very sad story.
Hopefully it's one I don't know.
If you've not played Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons,
I never finished it.
close your ears now. Or, Rosie, there's no point in you doing it because you're editing this.
Yeah, I'm gonna know.
So,
can we guess what happens at the end of Brothers? Can we guess? I think they get back and everything's fine, and their dad takes them to McDonald's.
well,
yeah.
I'm about to tell you the real thing. And this is I was reminded of this thanks to a comment by Mark Powell, who just says, "Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. This game just destroyed me at the end." And yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, anyone who hasn't played Brothers, I don't know why you'd be watching this because I'm about to spoil the ending. It's a very unique game, and it's quite timely we should talk about this because obviously it's made by Joseph Fares, who's just released It Takes Two.
It's taken all my willpower not to do a Dr. Hakim impression right there.
Well, you did it.
Yeah, you did it.
I've done it, yeah. Willpower lost.
And Brothers is a very unique game in that you control two brothers, but you control each brother with a different stick on your controller. So there's an older brother, Naya, and a younger brother, Nai. And the plot is their dad is ill, their mum's already dead, like the game opens sort of like at the mother's grave, and then the dad is very sick. So the two brothers are going on a journey together to hopefully find a cure for their dying father.
Sorry.
And over the course of the game, you do lots of puzzles, you do like cooperative, moving through environments, and it's a very sort of unique gameplay experience. It takes a while to get used to because obviously you're used to, moving the camera with the right stick and a character with the left stick, but now you're moving one character on each stick. But after a while you do get used to that feeling of having, I've got one brother on this stick and one brother on that stick, and they each have their own personality, so you can interact with NPCs in the game, and they'll each have their own unique animations for how they interact with NPCs in the game, and that really sort of brings out the personality of these two brothers. And so you going through the game, you get to the end, and there's like
oh no, I'm starting to predict. Just get on with it, Rob. Get on with it.
A spider lady, but she doesn't appear as a spider at first. She appears like a beautiful woman, and she sort of enchants Naya, who's the older brother. And Naive sort of cottons on. He's like, no, she's not what she appears to be. And Naya, he can't help himself. He's sort of like entranced. And tragically, the spider lady kills the older brother right at the end. And you're like, oh my god. And then you just have to do this. And that in itself would be like quite devastating as an ending, but the way it sort of brings home that character death, I think it's probably the most, in terms of gameplay, the most effective way of making you very sad about a character dying, because all of a sudden the whole game feels different. Like you've only got one stick to control, like you feel like a physical loss. Like all of a sudden it just feels weird, it feels wrong. You've been playing the game obviously with two sticks the whole time, and now you've only got one stick, and you have to bury your older brother with the younger brother.
With one stick?
With one stick. You're just, like, you're dragging his body, you dig the grave, you put him in the grave, and then you've got to go all the way back home to your father. And there's like an amazing bit where, so Nai can't swim through the game, so whenever you encounter like a large body of water, the way to get across it is to have Naya help Nai get across it, and that's how you get across the water. And you get to like a body of water and you're like, oh god, how am I supposed to get across this water now? Like the older brother's dead. And you just sort of push him towards the water, and he sort of like, he summons the courage to swim across, and it's this amazing feeling of, oh my god, I'm actually getting across the water with the younger brother. Like I'm getting across the water using the stick that I don't use to get across the water. Like it feels sort of empowering almost. And it's just an incredibly effective way, I think, of conveying that sense of loss. In a way that I don't think any other video game has managed. Like obviously it's very upsetting when beloved characters die, but Brothers is only like 3 hours long, and the way it makes you physically connect to the characters you're controlling, obviously, and then takes one of them away. It's it's devastating.
What about the dad? What about the dad?
Well, I don't want to spoil everything.
No, I don't know why I'm asking.
Played it.
No, I guess not.
He's like this, Dave.
Hey! Hey! Suckers! That was fine. Where's your brother?
So I agree with Mark Powell's comment about how that game was devastating at the end. It really was. It did break me, like no other game has done. And I think it's a brilliant game. And if you haven't played it yet, you really should, even though you now know what happens at the end.
In a way, we could say that Trico is a lot like BT.
Yeah.
And like
similar
they were both on your boyfriend list, weren't they, Dave, if I recall?
Yeah, oh my god, they were.
Oh my god, we've revealed something deep about my psyche here, that I just want to be protected by a big giant thing.
I just want to be the little spoon.
I just want to be the little spoon. Oh.
Any psychology experts in the comments? Fancy dissecting what Dave's choices say about him as a person? I, for one, would be intrigued to know. Thank you to everyone who commented on our initial video. Please keep the stories coming. Click the like button if you enjoyed this week's episode. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos on everything PlayStation. We'll catch you again soon.
PlayStation